What will we find in the forest today? Hopefully it's a Rex. Today we're up to the last episode of the different models of Subarus, and we're going to talk about mainly the Forester today. So in the VIN, the Forester is represented by the letter S, and each generation, as they're only a wagon, they only have one letter that comes after the S. So we have the SF, the SG, the SH, and so forth. So the first generation, the SF, lasted from 1997 and all the way to 2002. These came out in a few different models, ranging from naturally aspirated to turbo, to the lucky ones in Japan who received the STI models, which unluckily only came out as automatics, which isn't so great. So on the SF model, like all other Forester models, there's two different variants. You have the original version, then you have the facelift model. In the SFs, the original version had two different motor styles. You had the early models that didn't come out in Australia, which were the 97-98 GT models. So they had the inline inlet manifold. And then you had the 99-2000 version, which was like the WRXs of the time with the offset. The other difference between the WRXs and the Foresters of the time was the compression ratio and cams, and they also had a smaller turbo, which was a TFO 35, which most people thought Foresters came out factory with TDO4, but that just wasn't the case until the SG model. A big positive about the 2001 and 2002 Forester GTs was the fact that the ECUs were tunable in them, which saved you money on having to worry about getting an aftermarket ECU. I can say this with confidence because the 3P Garage Forester was a 2001 model, and it's been tuned quite a bit. The SFs were classified as GT models, but when we got to the SG, they were classified as XTs. So that's one thing to keep an eye out and to know the difference. After the SFs, we went to the SG, which ranged from 2002 to 2007. We only pulled apart two of these, I believe. One you can see right there, and I think the other one is there as well somewhere. But yeah, we didn't pull apart too many of these, so I'm not too sure on all the ins and outs of these, but I do know these are when the 2.5s came out. They also had a pre-facelift and a post-facelift. This model here is Nathan's favourite. After the SF and SG, we have the SH, the SJ, and finally, the current model being the SK, which, as far as I've been told, do not come out turboed, which isn't so great. And that's enough talk of all the real common Subarus we see. Let's get into the fun subject of the rarities. So, just quickly, I'll buzz through them and get some photos up. If there's enough attention to this video, I may do some more in-depth talks about these other cars. I don't know much about them, but they are very cool little cars. So we'll start with the beginning. We have the 360. The Subaru 360 came out as Subaru's first automobile. It had an engine capacity of, can you guess what it was? 360. And then ended up also having a 425cc big block version. These were so small, they were only a 2-stroke 2-cylinder motor that were for the Japanese kei car regulation, meaning that they had a limited capacity to be registered cheaper than a regular car. After the 360, we'll jump to the Subaru Vortex, or other countries call it the Subaru XT. This was an all-wheel drive turbocharged motor, but only a 1.8 litre, so not very big. This is also the first time the Subaru 6-cylinder made an appearance as the 2.7 ER27, which I only recently found out being a fan of the Subaru 6-cylinders. The next version of this car would have been the SVX, which is a pretty iconic car that my mate has owned and not many people have seen around because there's so few of them. This is also a 6-cylinder Subaru, but it only came out automatic, unfortunately. So the Leone and the L Series was Subaru's first touch into the rally scene, before Subaru World Rally Team was created and the Liberties took over. The Leone in the L series also brought along a Ute version, which in Australia we know as a Brumby, but in the States it's the Brat. And those lucky buggers over there even got one with 2 seats in the back, which wouldn't quite fly over here. Another cool one was the Samba, which was JDM only, which was a key car, bus, truck, pretty much an all-rounder that people modified in lots of weird, wacky ways, including making replica Volkswagen. One that's called by many different names is the Sherpa, or the Fiore, or the model I truly love that confuses a lot of people, the Rex. This was also a little key car, but the Rex came out with a supercharged all-wheel drive setup as well. So, what's not to love about that? If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to join us at 3P Garage Live on Thursdays at 7:30 PM over on Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube. And make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Thanks, guys. Okay, I guess I should mention quickly the few more modern cars. We have the BRZ, which is a 4-cylinder rear-wheel drive. The Tribeca, which the only good thing about it is the 3.6 litre H6 motor. The XV, which... let's just not talk about the XV. And one that I kind of like but don't like, which is the Lavorg, which, if you spell it backwards, is grovel. But the issue with this car is it's only CVT.